This is, as I said to some of you, episode 1 of what's going to be a women's health, wellness and performance using ketones. So today we're being led by Jennifer Harper Deacon, who I know you'll all absolutely love. I met Jennifer during my own health journey and we've become firm friends ever since. But Jennifer, just for a bit of background, she used to sit on the GMTV couch with Dr. Hillary. She's an author. She was the Sunday Times health columnist for over 7 years. She's been, most importantly, a naturopathic practitioner for over 25 years. So has not only used the ketogenic diet for her own health journey, but, you know, to help countless patients as well. And then throughout over the last 18 months, she's been to numerous metabolic health summit conferences. She's got relationships with all the top doctors worldwide, and her expertise and where she's been on an international basis led her to find out about Prove It Ketones. And now that her passion to share this product with everybody on a global basis, but, you know, let's talk about today in the UK, you know, has never been greater. So I think it's important with a broad audience, some of whom are brand new to the concept of using ketones, others who've just got started, and those that, like me, have been going a little bit longer. But I think it's important to kick off with the basics. So Jen, can we just speak to you first of all about what is ketosis? You know, how do we get into this state?
Hi, everybody on the call. I'm afraid I'm on a phone, so I can't see many of your lovely faces, but thank you for joining us. Yeah, ketosis is a very basic human state. And in fact, some of you are in that state most mornings if you've had enough of a window of time between your evening meal and when you have your next your breakfast, which is breaking fast. So if you, say, for example, finished your meal at 5 o'clock and didn't eat till 11 o'clock in the morning, you've had a window, if providing you've just had water in that window, your body's going into a mild state of ketosis and beginning to elevate ketones in your blood. So I think it's very important to say that, again, this is a very natural process and is a process that we as human beings have done since the beginning of time. So we've run like a hybrid car with 2 different fuel sources. We've run with a glucose fuel source, which runs one engine in the body, let's call it the petrol engine. And then we have the ketone engine, or the electric engine, which is an entirely different engine. But the problem has been is that our diets nowadays are very, very high in carbohydrates, and we've been encouraged to snack. It's great we've got intermittent fasting, and the awareness of fasting has been raised in the last few years, which is marvelous. But I still have many patients who never get into this magical state of ketosis because they maybe start having breakfast at 7 in the morning. They have a mid-morning snack, they have their lunch, they need a mid-afternoon snack to keep them going. And then, of course, they have their evening meal, and then they sit down in front of the television and they carry on with a cup of tea and a biscuit, or even a few nuts or a glass of wine. But that basically means that the entire time their body is still running that petrol engine. So you never actually get into this magical state of ketosis. So the way you get into ketosis, other ways apart from fasting, is that we basically need to drop our carbohydrate level down. And you might have heard of the ketogenic diet, which is basically a low carbohydrate diet where your intake in general of net carbs doesn't exceed 20 grams a day, okay? And then you increase the fats in your diet. So that will get you into the state of ketosis. Most people after about 5 days, everybody's very different depending on whether you're insulin or metabolically resistant, which we might cover later on. But basically, for some, it can be quite difficult to get into the state of ketosis. Now, another way of getting into ketosis, you might have heard of coconut oil or MCT oil. So MCT oil is medium chain triglycerides. And this basically is an extract from coconut oil. And this basically very quickly is converted into your body's own ketones. But the exciting thing now is that we have a drink that takes you into the state of ketosis in under the hour. And when I was first introduced to this drink, like many, I just thought that is clinically impossible. And it was only when I started to research the molecule itself, beta hydroxybutyrate, or BHB, let's call it BHB during the call, and in particular the D form, which is the bioidentical form, that I started to see the incredible qualities. And just briefly, Catherine, I think just to explain to people a little bit more about the drinking ketones understanding and the significance of this, is that Dr. Richard Veitch, who was the biochemist who founded or discovered rather, the beta hydroxybutyrate molecule, he then took 2 studies to the American military in 2004, and they were so excited they gave him a check there and then to explore this further. And the check, I think, was $10 million, which was a lot in 2004. And then because NASA and the Navy SEALs, they also thought, it's brilliant to be in this state of ketosis, but actually our guys can't fast and they can't really follow a ketogenic diet when they're out on a mission. Can we supplementize this? So that was the question that then led to the research and the formation of both the ester and the salts, which are the 2 key forms of ketones that you can drink. One is more pharmaceutical, and the ketone salts are in various forms on the market. And actually, while we're on this, I'll just mention that there are salts in very different forms. So when these salts are formed in a chemist laboratory, you have 2 sides to the molecule. Basically, 1/2 is natural, 1/2 is chemical. So that's called a racemic mix. And at this point in time, all the other companies around the world selling the beta hydroxybutyrate salts, the BHB salts, as ketone drinks are this chemical / natural formula. So it's the equivalent of me coming home at night and putting 2 keys in my front door and expecting the front door to open, and it won't open. And this was why I was so excited. I'm huge on precision nutrition, on functional medicine, on using the best ingredients that are currently available on the market. And this is where I went on and carried on researching the Prove It one, because they continued with the research until they created an incredibly pure BHB molecule that is not only bioidentical, but it is naturally fermented. And again, the first ever naturally fermented form of ketone on the market. So that's quite extraordinary. So quite a lot in that sentence, long sentence, but hopefully you've got a bit of a background on ketosis and the ketone drink itself.
And Jennifer, does it matter about diet? If people are going to take the ketones, which if everybody's got this on gallery view, we can see lovely boxes behind a lovely lady called Rosie there. But Rosie. Do you have to have a specific diet? Will it make any difference? A lot of women approach us with regards to weight loss. You know, it's something that all us women have talked about ever since we were teenagers.
Well, I think the exciting thing is when you look at raised ketone molecules in the blood, one of the things they do, one of their actions clinically, is they're known as a signaling molecule. This basically means there's better communication on every level within a cellular structure, be it neurologically speaking with your brain or physiologically speaking with your body, which is just excellent. Sorry, I've got some messages coming through. So that's really important, that they still act as a signaling molecule regardless of what else is going on in your diet. So they found that if in the presence of carbohydrates, it will still act as a signaling molecule. Now, jumping to the complexities of men and women, what I found over the 18 months is that men seem to drop weight very quickly on ketones, regardless of changing or not changing. So in fact, all the men I know have never changed a thing about their diet. However, with women, and we will be running a special hormonal program with a clinical doctor, a hormone specialist, and another nutritionist who's a hormone specialist as well, talking about the complexities of women and how we're more metabolically stuck. And by metabolically stuck, you'll understand what I'm saying, is that you can literally look at a food and you go to the scales and you gain 5 pounds. So we are more complex creatures. So I would say with some people, if their objective is fat loss, we might need to integrate in some fasting and a change in lowering the carbohydrate level in the diet and increasing the fat in the diet. Not too much to begin with, but just some good fats, because what you sometimes need to do is knock someone off the plateau. They've just got stuck. So we need a variety of interventions to move them. But the incredible thing is with the ketones is that they will take you into a state of ketosis, which is clinically recognized in your blood as over 0.5 millimoles. So this is what this drink. So one drink of this, drunk between 20 to 40 minutes, within the hour, your body will be in a clinical state of ketosis, which I feel, and I have witnessed this over the 18 months, is just extraordinary. And the results are extraordinary on so many different levels.
Thank you, Jennifer. A lady is asking about, how and why would drinking the ketones help her menopausal symptoms and also poor sleep. Now, we all know that there are, lots of benefits that we're kind of telling people about, and, sleep is one of them, hormones is another, related to better mood and things like that. But maybe you could just give us a snapshot as to why being in ketosis when you take the ketones will create those benefits.
Certainly. Well, as you said, 2 areas of the menopause where women really do suffer is sleep and just the general state in menopause, where it tends to be, and I'm going to make a generalization, but I've seen enough women to see this is true, again, is that women become metabolically stuck, is that suddenly what worked for them before doesn't work for them. And that includes the ketogenic diet. And I myself was a huge advocate, and I have been so for, golly, way over 20 years. I followed everything to do with the ketogenic programs. However, then when my hormones began to change, again, my body changed, whether I liked it or not. And there was nothing I could do. My sleep was affected, my weight changed as well. And it was only by bringing in the ketones as another tool to, again, change and chip in to this sort of plateau that my body had gone into. And I think a lot of that is, again, because we are what's called metabolically resistant or insulin resistant, and it's all quite complex with hormones. But one of the things that I've been following a lot of the research in general, be it the ketogenic diet, be it fasting, be it taking a drink, what we're looking at is by raising the ketone levels in your blood, what they found in research is that the blood sugar and the insulin levels drop. So when you have a food, and researchers have found this even with so-called friendly ketogenic snacks and bars, is that they can spike your insulin. And as soon as you've got your insulin up, that also can lead to inflammation in the body, which is something we don't really want. But what we want is a lower level of insulin in the blood. And we do have to work harder. And that's why I talk about some women, especially if fat loss is their goal, that potentially they will need to have some dietary intervention, of which we give all the coaching for that, along with some intermittent fasting and sometimes 24 hours, sometimes some more extended fasts once a month. And then bringing the ketones in. And with women, when they've tolerated them, I will add a little bit of the MCT into the ketones. So you've got the 2 different forms, and I would do them twice a day, because ketones have a blood life of, they say, between 2 and 6 hours in the body. And what I've seen is those who need the ketones more, it's like some women say to me, when I drink it, I just drink it fast because I feel my body needs it. And I say, no, I know exactly what you mean with that. Just a note of warning here is that if you do drink them below 20 seconds, 20 seconds, gosh, that would be fast, 20 minutes, it does, any form of ketone, including the MCT oil, has an effect on your GI tract, your gastric system. So that may well take you to the laboratory. So just be a little bit aware of that. Okay, sorry, someone's not on mute. Anyway, so they're the two things that I would be careful of. And then jumping back into sleep is, again, many changes happen at night. And one of the things we found with ketones is they do work with our neurons overnight. And anybody, this is what science is, the emerging science is beginning to show, again, in animal models and through diet, through fasting, through various ways, is that at night, anybody over the age of 30, anybody who's more metabolically resistant, just saying two areas, it's also head injury as well, is that your body, the glucose which normally goes in to feed your neurons at night, isn't quite so effective, and therefore your brain is literally starving at night. And what they've found in early research trials is that the ketones go in via a different door to the brain and literally feed your brain. So this can be one of the mechanisms why people sleep deeper and longer. There's other things to do with the GABA to glutamate ratio. They're two neurotransmitters that switches to a favorable transaction there. But yeah, many people report better sleep, which is so powerful, because obviously sleep is one of those critical healing mechanisms that we all actually sometimes take for granted, but is a really critical part during the menopause or during any hormonal change.
Thank you, Jennifer. And just one last question for everybody here. Give me a show of hands if you're already taking the ketones. That's quite a large number of you, which is great to see, but also exciting for us to see that there are people on here who are obviously maybe sat there skeptical, wondering how this could make a difference to their lives. Now, we're going to be talking every week, and you'll be invited onto these calls as often as you want to. But following this call, each week we're going to be joined by some special guests talking about their own personal experiences with ketones. So these will be the top doctors, personal trainers, professional athletes, and your regular mum like me, children, etc. So there should be lots and lots of information to follow, and we just want to have each week kind of 20 minutes where you can pop on, put in the chat, ask your questions. But the reality is, I've been involved in this business since January. It's a phenomenal product and almost an even better business. The community that is built, the education that we offer as part of this team, and we're looking to build an army of people. So, if you are interested, if you've already become an advocate, please, do try and, join in with us, or get back to the person who invited you onto this call. Hopefully you can feel Jennifer's energy. Hopefully you can feel my energy, because we're, hugely passionate about the way we can transform so many lives. But thank you everybody for joining. Keep spreading the word, keep drinking your ketones, and hopefully you'll tune in again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.